and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. A special shout out to our spiritual Patreon family, beloveds, and just all the amazing conversations and interactions that we have on there. If you want more spiritual information, if you want to see the shows ahead of time, definitely consider joining us on that platform. I think they're like 10 shows ahead, and there's some interesting reading material that I've kind of been sharing with our family on there. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask me, Dr. Mumbi at drmumbishow.com is where you can reach me. We usually go with the most popular questions every month. One of the questions that I've been getting persistently is, what is my take on China's invasion of Africa and how all these European countries are coming into Africa and how the French are doing this and recolonization and seriously. And this is one of the reasons why I stopped doing the news, because I realized all the news that we were feeding on in many African nations was written by Babylonians, whether the Babylonians were abroad, whether they were local, whether they were working for our newspapers, whether they had created their own social media platforms. Because slowly you start to discover, I think there was a journalist that was kicked out of, I'm not sure if it was Zimbabwe or Botswana, and it was discovered that he'd been running this campaign, or maybe Mozambique, but it was Mozambique. He'd been running this really popular social media kind of website, web news portal, which was sharing all these stories, but they had the bent of, whichever nation he was spying for, allegedly. But a lot of people are like, Africa's being invaded. What are we going to do? How do we come together? We don't have guns. We don't have this. We don't have that. And what do I think about this? Beloveds, let me put it this way. The greatest battle that we are going to have to fight is going to be with our ignorant brothers and sisters. That is going to be the greatest battle. That is going to be the one that is most heart-wrenching. And that battle is going on right now, beloveds, as we try and take a mental stand. First, we have to rescue ourselves mentally, get our thinking right, get confident in knowing that, the lies that we've been told, in knowing the lies that are being told right now, and in standing firm, even though 99% of the world believe it as truth. But we have to know our truth and stand confidently in that truth. And then we have to hold the space, beloveds, for the young ones, the spiritually young ones, let me put it that, who are just awakening, who are trying to find their way out of the darkness. And that's what I find sometimes in the comments. I love it when people will go up against, the crusaders who come in my comments and try and say, repent and all this nonsense. Because there's the young ones, beloveds, who such comments will drag them back into the pit of hell, and we now, as an awakened ones, because we're fighting for this tipping point. It's always been about us. The Armageddon, the final battle, is about us, and it's not about them. Spiritually, things have already been taken care of. So physically, we're not going to see that much of like a physical war between the melanated ones and the non-melanated ones. That's happening on the spiritual plane and has been. But the danger is that the enemy of our soul, Satan, the devil, whatever you want to call him, he has a hold of our minds. And he's willing to go out with as many minds as possible. And so the fight is for the minds of our people. Because so many people are out of their minds, and so their minds are being used by this demonic, order. And they're now being programmed more so that they can become real slaves that are just feeding this demonic order without even being able to think, feel, But the greatest battle, beloveds, is going to be with those who look like you and I, but are ignorant. The ignorant among us, especially the ignorant among us who have power, who are totally, whether they know it or not, bowing to the Babylonian system and the Babylonian narrative, whether they know it's a lie or not. At this point, we can debate, are they brotherhood? Do they know the diabolical agenda that's being pushed globally, or are they totally ignorant to it, Little bird just came and sat on the And I mean, we can argue that, but the ignorant ones who are in power, beloveds, and now we can see how they are, the lowest vibrational ones are always the ones who are obsessed with control, obsessed with, not allowing people to do this and, drowning people in fear, etc., etc. The highest evolved ones don't even want anything to do. They just want to go hide somewhere in a bush. But we have to come to terms with that, beloveds. That the greatest battle, the one we should be worrying about, or even not worrying about, but the one that really even should feature in our minds, will be with the ignorant among us, in our families, in our communities, because those ignorant ones are usually the loudest ones. And they'll scream on top of their voices for a Jesus that may never have even existed, that they were told about by Mzungu. You know what I mean? And they will ram it down people. So they're so convicted. But you see, as you start this awakening process and you start to know and to realize things, you realize how little you know. And in recognizing how little you know, it's almost the most humbling experience ever. Because you don't have that outright conviction that a lot of the people who don't know have. The ignorant ones are confident, they're arrogant about it, about their fake beliefs. But the ones who know something, they're gonna have to stand in the gap now. If you know something, you're gonna have to speak bravely to those that are sent your way. You're gonna have to start exercising your gifts. Because the universe is already sending those who need you, and you need them. Because in giving service, that means you're on the higher levels now, and you move faster through, your own ascension. And it's such a great blessing, beloveds, to be able to be of service. But that's the greatest battle, because there are those who are ignorant and they really just don't know. And the minute they start to discover the truth, they'll go for the truth and they'll abandon the lie. But there are those who are ready to die with the lie. They've given it too much. They've given too much to their church. They've given too much time, money, energy to their pastor. They've carried, they forced generations to be going to church. Their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, their great-great-grandchildren all had to be blessed under this particular pastor. And they've even built a church on the, farm or whatever. I mean, some people have invested too much and they just won't come out of it. But you have to hold the space in your family, in your community, for those who are ready. Be ready to share the truth that the Spirit nudges you to share with them. Because the war is going on right now. It's deadly, beloveds. Because you see, those who know the truth, and they know there's so much more to know about the truth, and to get deeper into the truth. It's like from level to level. But those who believe the lie, they feel their energy going, but they're going down with that lie. They're not going to let it down. They're not going to let it go. And so not everyone even wants to be saved, beloveds. So the greatest battle is going to happen among the melanated. We don't need to worry about the others. It's been taken care of. But those that look like us, that share our DNA, that share our blood, that sold us out before, it's a time for that confrontation between those two spirits or, energies in Africa. Those who are loyal to our gods and those who are not. I mean, it's just that simple. And that's where the great battle will be. Tuko pamoja. Hello and welcome, family. How you doing? Welcome. I'm not sure if you're seeing this on the Dr. Mumbi show or the Dr. Mumbi spiritual show, but we just wanted to give you a special heads up. We've been getting, over the last 6 months, we've gotten so many emails from people asking about what they need to do about relocating to Africa. Before, it was like people needed general information, but now people are making some serious moves. So we've started a new community. We're going to actually be starting a new channel. You can find the links below. Go ahead and definitely subscribe and hit that notification button so that you find out when we launch our first video. But in case you want to see already, the pre-production stage, find us on Patreon, Karibu Nyumbani. And Karibu Nyumbani basically means welcome home. You can also find the link below. And it's everything you need to know about repatriating to Africa. And the reason we've decided to create the online platform is because people are in need of lawyers, of bankers, of realtors, etc., and advice from these people on how to relocate back to the continent. As someone who relocated 10 years ago, there's a lot of experience that I have under my belt about what the relocation process looks like. So definitely, beloveds, consider subscribing to the new channel, links down below, and join us, more importantly, on Patreon, where you can even ask questions. And by the way, if you're a creator, in terms of, if you're what they call professional, if you're some kind of, if you're a realtor, if you're a lawyer in your country and you'd like to be a country representative to help people relocate, or if you have a consultancy agency, definitely reach out, Dr. Mumbi at drmumbishow.com. You can also join our Patreon family, where we do have a special section for, local country representatives, where we can be sharing all the information, real estate projects, etc., that you have coming up with our wider family. So happy to be starting this journey with you. We wish all of you the greatest success in returning back home. Karibu Nyumbani.